Hello, everyone. This is the official teaching PvP video for Mace. I'm going to be going over four sections of Mace, being beginner and the basics, intermediate, advanced, and master. And I'm going to put it all through categories so guys can all see it better and learn more. The first thing I'm going to start off with is that you need to have keybinds. Keybinds are really essential in all PvP, mainly being Crystal and Mace. So just to show you guys, these are my keybinds. If you'd like, go ahead and copy them. They are the same from last PvP video. And if you want to see how I set up my inventory, this is exactly how. My Breach Mace being in my 4th slot, and my Windburst Mace being in my 7th slot, which is a T. I do this for both Diamond and Netherite. Now, let's get in with the basics. Mace PP consists of two types of maces. The Breach, which ignores armor, and Windburst, which sends you in the air every time you land a hit. So the first thing that you can do is just go ahead and one charge and just go to your mace and just hit. You can do this with any mace. It deals the most amount of damage when the cooldown is over. And to go even higher, you jump at the same time. And you can do this for both maces as well. And to jump even more higher, you shift and jump at a specific time. And it still can be done with both maces. The next thing is that a basic is next is using the shield. It is better to hold the shield to have the shield in your hotbar, preferably someone that you might like. When I don't have fireworks, I usually have my shield in my 3rd slot and my breach mace staying everything the same except for my gapples and shield. It is my 5th and my 3rd. When you use your shield, you want to switch to it while offhanding a totem. So just in case, if they do something else and your shield does break, you don't die. How to use the shield is by holding right click and looking at the opponent no matter what, because they can do many things. Even when flying, you stay looking at your opponent so you don't die. The next beginner technique is called elytra wind charging, where you just use your elytra, jump once, and then look down and use a wind charge, sending you high in the air really fast. But if you do it too early, you can get no time, no like air time. If you do it too late, you can just probably keep going forward, but not up. That's why you need to also look up when doing it. And the more momentum you have, the better it is. And the next level of techniques will be intermediate, which is basically pro catching. The next techniques that will be shown in the rest of the video will all probably have names for them. So, pearl catching is where you throw a pearl and throw a wind charge right after, and it sends you up in the air. It is much better to do this faster. The higher you are, the higher you deal damage with the mace, of course. So if you throw catch in the air and drop down and hit with the mace, you deal enough damage to kill a maxed out netherite player. You can also throw catch while flying with the elytra, as long as your momentum stays minimal and not too fast. This is better done when you are taking turns, which slows you down. You can also get more height by wind charging before you do this. So by wind charging and throwing a curl and then throwing a wind charge, you can get even more height, which is guaranteed to one-tap any player. The next technique is called elytra macing or dive bombing, which is used while you are flying down with your elytra at super fast speeds. That wasn't as fast as I thought it would be, but let's say you were just flying and as you were flying, you were to drop down to one-tap a player while dropping down really fast. This gives the player low time to concentrate and protect themselves with a shield. This is how most people or intermediate level people win their games. And to perform this, you have to make sure that you take off your elytra before you hit them, because if you don't, you just won't deal any damage. So you want it unequipped before you do anything, because if you don't, of course, you'll deal no damage. Well, if you do, you will do damage. Next technique is wind charge canceling. Let's say I was dropping in the air, and for you to stop me from killing you, you would throw a wind charge and you have to aim it at me. Usually aim at the feet because it is the best to wind charge cancel. And even if they are even flying, if you hit them, it would cancel them from flying. The next technique I'll be moving on to is lunge swapping or spear macing, which is a form of macing. It's a style of mace where you use a low duration item like pearls, wind charges, fireworks, elytra, or your bare hand, and then you jump, and then you swing, and then switch to your spear at the same time. This is what it looks like when like you do it consistently, and this is better used when like you use a wind charge, and then use it, and then go at the player and mace them. This is called spear macing, and there's multiple techniques like some seen in Made's video, running away. Wait, where you run where he basically runs away and then comes back and kills them. And there's like multiple techniques to use with this, like so there's stun slamming for this, which is probably really difficult actually. So and I mean, y'all can see how it might work. Like, and there's also backstabbing. So like, If you want to backstab your opponent, you can just do that. And if you want to try and stun slam, you can try and do it, but like you need to be really good at stun slamming to do it first. So here, let me try. This is only available on 1.21.11, of course. So make sure you have the almost latest version or the latest version. So 1.21.11 or and above. Kind of laggy though. Okay, well, y'all can probably get the point. Yeah, and yeah, that's obstacle. This goes for spear macing or lunge swapping. This takes me over to attribute swapping, where by switching from one weapon to another within exactly one tick of attacking, the game processes the damage and cooldown of the first item, but applies the enchantments, attributes, and durability usage of the second item, and which allows the player to combine the properties of two different items, which was introduced in 1.21. You can do this breach swapping or windburst swapping, where in the air this is usually done with the windburst mace, and on the ground this is usually done with the breach mace, which ignores 60% of the player's armor if it is breach 4, like you're hitting a player with a netherite sword, but 40% of damage is being ignored. The next technique I'll be moving on to is stun slamming. This and attribute swapping is an advanced technique. It is where you use the axe to break the shield, and then use the mace to deal damage to the player. So you wind charge, switch to the axe, click on the shield, switch to mace, then click again. To practice this, try holding the axe and clicking twice to where the player takes 2 ticks of damage. Then practice by wind charging and doing the same thing. After that, practice doing this, but instead of using the axe twice, you use it once, then switch to the mace. Make sure you hear the damage tick of the axe and the tick of the mace, because if you don't, then it is usually not to work. It takes time to practice to master this, so make sure that you practice a lot. Next is backstabbing, where you're in the air and then you turn around before they have enough time, so you can deal damage to them. It's literally just a backstab. Let's say you're built on the ground. You just loop around him and you hit him. You can do this while breach swapping too, which deals the most damage. This is also best while looking at their feet, because they get less time because they're looking mostly at your face. This can also be done while you're in the air. Just loop around them. And this can also be used with the Lunge 3 spear, which allows you to move behind them really fast. Also, this is done with Elytra Mason, which is, you can practice by doing this consistently, where you just mace them once, and then you start gliding at them, doing cool 360s. This is also good when you attribute swap, so make sure to do it, because it also helps you practice attribute swapping too. Active pro grappling or far pulling, where you you teleport onto a player, and then you mace them right after, like this. This map also allows you to do fort pearling by, as it is one of the game modes, where you can practice. This can also be done with breach, with a breach mace. By this can also be done with a breach mace, like this, right after you use the wind burst. And if you go high enough and teleport exactly on their head, you can have enough time to deal the breach damage without using the wind burst mace. Next to the Elytra stun flaming. I'm not really the best at this, and if you want to see someone that can do it better than me, then it's completely fine, because this is this is a master technique, and I am also trying to do this myself, and I've only done this like a couple of times, so I almost did it there. So basically, you glide down with the Elytra, unequip your Elytra, and perform a stun slam, which is one of the techniques that I've already taught. Let me just keep doing this until I get it right. Yes, I did it. That is Elytra stun slamming. The next master technique is diagonal pearl catching, which allows you to not just gain a bit of height, but move forward. This is kind of difficult to do because as the wind charge goes straight, the pearl falls down because of gravity. So you need to look down when doing it. Make sure that you aim on top of the player so you're able to hit them. The next technique is shield draining, where you basically need to spam with the mace at 30 CPS, which should break the shield. Um, I'm not like Raptor because he cheated. I don't cheat, but multiple high tier ones and low tier ones, they are usually able to do this, like Kali Mortimer and Alien Overdose. But you need like 30 CPS. I'm getting like probably like 16 right now. Oh, I broke the shield, but it didn't work. Well, y'all get the point. It's pretty difficult to do. Oh God. Yeah, whatever. The next technique is Mace D-tap, where you're basically just D-tapping, like in Crystal, but with Mace, where you basically lie down, you breach, and then you unequip the Elytra, and you windburst Mace them. This takes some time to do. I can't really do this myself. I'm currently trying my best to do this. So I can give you an example of what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it though. So basically, you have the Elytra equipped. You breach. You breach with the Elytra equipped while flying, and then you unequip the Elytra and you windburst. I'm trying to get an idea of. I hope you get an idea of what this looks like, because I can't really do this. So, and this is really difficult. I'm able to do most of the technique, but definitely not this one. Yeah. The next technique is Elytra preservation, because you realized in your fights in Mace the elytra is usually the first item to break. So you can preserve the elytra's durability by unequipping and re-equipping and flying once again. All you need to do is just right click again, and then fly. Another technique is, this is also able to be done for speed, which I do a lot, and I see elytra preservation as a master technique, but for the speed, I see it as an advanced technique, which you can probably get down really easily. All you need to do is just fly horizontal. All you need to do is just throw a vertical pearl catch, jump back, do a vertical pearl catch, and then re-equip the elytra twice, fly down, unequip the elytra, and then just mace, which brings you down really fast, giving the player no time to react. Next, you're probably thinking is, where is rocket macing? Rocket macing is really difficult. It's usually done with flight duration 3 rockets and wind burst 3. But as you get better, you can start doing what Wemby does with wind burst 1. First, what you want to do is get a wind burst 3, flight duration 3, and an elytra, of course. You fly up, and then you fall back down, and you mace. Simple as that. The next stage to rocket macing is you just fly up, look immediately down. You fly up, look immediately down. You fly up. Okay, bro. You fly up, look immediately down. You fly up, look immediately. You fly up, look immediately down. You fly up. You fly up, look immediately down, unequipped and mace. So you fly up in the air, and then look down, unequipped the elytra, and mace them. The next stage of this technique is, you fly up, unequipped, look down, re-equip, fly down, unequip the elytra, and mace. This is probably the best, and it looks much cooler. You can do this ultra horizontally, but it's more difficult as you need to have better aim. The next stage to this is probably the hardest. I can probably the next two techniques is really difficult with rocket macing. I'm not sure if I'm the one who discovered this, but I found this by myself without searching it up or anything. This is called elytra. I call it elytra short rocket macing, where basically wind charge, equipped elytra, fly unequipped, and a mace. I see this really difficult as it takes time to perfect. And it's much harder to do, of course, with wind burst 1. Also, what is also really difficult is elytra backstabbing. The reason I do elytra backstabbing is because usually when you're rocket macing, someone will probably use your shield. So you're gonna fly up in the air, you're gonna fly back down at them, do a 360 like you're gonna backstab them, unequipped, and mace them. And if they continue to use their shield, just rinse and repeat this technique, as it works most of the time. And if they predict what you're gonna do, just rocket mace them normally, and they don't know what to do because you're in the air and they're not. What is also difficult to do is short elytra backstabbing. So where you basically do this, but this time you backstab, which is even harder to do than elytra back than rocket elytra backstabbing. I can barely get this done, but I've been able to do it, like right here, and you can do it consistently if you train it and get better at it. Fishing rod macing. So basically, you get a fishing rod, and like you can put it anywhere in your inventory, somewhere that you prefer. Like I usually put it in my X lot, which is my axe. So you hook onto them, and actually, I just realized you actually have to offhand it. Never mind, I messed up. So you offhand, so you hook onto them, offhand, and basically, so wait, mace once, pull them back up, mace again, and then just rinse and repeat the process. This is better with higher levels of mace, like Windburst. So let's say Windburst 2, you know, and here's Windburst 3. Wait, I kind of messed it up. You need to do it at a specific time to send them flying in the air like that. And that is guaranteed probably 2 totem pops at least. Um, so as you can see, 1, 2, and maybe 3 if you're lucky, you know. And here's like Windburst 1. It's not really good with Windburst 1, but y'all can probably get the point. And you can add something to it. If you're gonna add something, you can try this. Um, oh wait, I just messed that up. You can try something like this maybe. Wait, you can try something like this. Like, basically the idea is you hook them, you go with the trident, you pull them with you, and you can basically just hold on to them. I don't think that works, but another thing is if you get some armor stands, like if you get some armor stands and place them down, you can hook onto them, mace, mace again, and go back up. Um, it's usually done with Windburst 2 maces and above. It is guaranteed a one tap because it's the height of Windburst 3, so and then you can always bring it back. You know, it's really easy. Like I see it really easy. And then maybe you can after you do that, like maybe you can do something like this, bring it over. Like maybe bring it over, mace, and then just fly down to get immediate height, you know? And yeah, that that's another style of macing. The next and final technique and final style of mace is trident macing. This is probably known as the hardest style of mace there is, harder than elytra, harder than rocket macing, harder than chain macing, harder than fishing rod macing, harder than armisan macing, and more and more. Players that trident mace usually use their trident in their main hand. Like some players do that. That is skilled players. And players that like it easy, like me, use it in their offhand. And as long as you hit the player with the trident when you go up and down, as long as you basically like deal damage to them, you won't take any damage. But if you go up and then down on the ground, you will probably take damage and you'll probably die. That's why it is really risky to do trident macing. To do it, um, it basically goes off like the cooldown of the mace. So people usually use Windburst 1. So look, Windburst 3. So it is kind of difficult to do. So I don't like using Windburst 3 because it's different. But all you gotta do is go up in the air once, go down, mace, and just keep looking down at the player and keep tracking them. You need to aim at them and keep using the Riptide while being in the rain and keep macing every time. But when you get skilled, you go down the levels from Windburst 3 to Windburst 3 to Windburst 2, just normally. And then from Windburst 2 to Windburst 1, which is probably the hardest one, which I'm getting good at. I can consecutively do it sometimes if I just don't move my camera, because the camera needs to be at a certain angle to complete this the you know the style of mace. As you can see, it's really interesting. And another thing that you can do is, if you do have an elytra, of course you can shine an elytra to fly at speeds faster than anything, but you can also use this to kill anyone no matter what. So what you can do is like try it, riptide in the air, then equip the elytra and fly, and then try it at the player, unequip the elytra, and then mace. So like this. This is a guaranteed one tap no matter what. And another tip is, when you're trident macing, I think you should maybe try attribute swapping, because um you'll do more damage. It's gonna be a one tap no matter what, but like it's for the cooldown, and it's like better. And another technique is like something like this, you know, like you fly really fast at them. The techniques can go on and on forever as long as you have speed. Like you're never gonna like lose this fight. It's gonna be hard to lose this fight if you're skilled with trident macing. If you're not, then that sounds like a you problem. But trident macing is really guaranteed, because as soon as you learn it, you can, like, everything is probably gonna be easy for you, except for like some of the master techniques, because master techniques are really difficult to do. And that is officially all the techniques to macing. If you have any questions, go ahead and join my Discord server or comment down your question, and I'm always free and available to respond. And if you want to get notified when there's videos, just join my Discord server and you get immediately notified when I post a new video. Also, not to stop, my new SMP is almost out. The first episode is almost out of the Power SMP. I'm super happy because It took a while to make it and get all the people and make all the scripts. And yes, it is scripted. And I hope you guys enjoyed the first video. Goodbye and have a good one.